Hello and welcome to Fifth and Grace. My name is Avril and I am delighted to be on this journey with you today. My friend Caitlyn from the Intuitive Forest is here with us, and we're going to be talking about all things intention. We're going to talk about tarot and intention, rituals, all the good stuff, and how we put our intentions out into the world and how we get what we want from them, because, putting them out there is just half the battle, right? And so just for everybody's information, so we all know who we are, I am a professional tarot reader, and I am a meditation guide, healer, past life coach, tapping enthusiast, and spiritual coach, and I help you achieve your extraordinary life through all of these modalities and more. And I am here to help you achieve your dream life, and I support you every step of the way. And now my friend Caitlyn's going to tell us all about what she does.
Hi, my name is Caitlyn. I'm from the Intuitive Forest, and I am a quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner. That's a QHHT practitioner. So I explore people's past lives and I have conversations with their subconscious. I'm also a quantum biology enthusiast. So I love learning about how the human body interacts with the, as well as quantum energy worker. So that's basically how we work with energy, how energy affects us and our bodies. I do intuitive readings and energy clearings, all stuff like that. So it's a pleasure to be here to speak with you. And I'm so excited to talk about this topic because I love it.
Awesome. And I'm going to link to your website in the description of my video so that people can find you. So for those of everyone watching, just for information's sake, we're both in Southern Ontario. So if you're interested in a session with either of us, I know Caitlyn does a lot of in-person work. So if you are in the Southern Ontario area, easy peasy. If you're in another part of the world, we'll need to arrange a limo to pick you up at the airport. So today we're going to talk all about intention and how to manifest through rituals. So what does that mean to you? I know, as we're like, stir that cauldron.
Yeah. Well, I think that, like you were saying earlier, the word ritual kind of scares people away. But everybody does a ritual every single day, whether it's when you wake up in the morning, like we were saying, you get up, you brush your teeth. That right there is a ritual. It's a daily habit. So the difference of how we're applying it is basically, if you want to look at ritual in a spiritual sense, we're basically applying focused intention behind it. So it creates a really powerful way for us to, as you said, get us what we want.
So something just popped in my mind that I do, and I didn't even realize I had ritualized it. Is so I've got a big garden in my backyard, and there's lots of blackberry bushes and raspberry bushes. So every morning I go out there with my little bucket and I pick all the blackberries are done, their season's done, so they're all in my freezer right now, but the raspberries are still going.
Nice.
So every morning I'm out there in my little garden picking all these and then popping them in the freezer. It's just my little ritual every day while my coffee's brewing. And what I've actually started doing to unintentionally, didn't even think about it till this moment, is I've started talking to the plants. I've started thanking all of them. So as I take their berries, I'm like, thank you so much. Good job. You have provided so much. And, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll take good care of you over the winter. And I've just kind of ritualized. And so many of my neighbors who happen to be in their gardens at the same time might be like, who is she talking to?
The power of gratitude is such a high frequency vibration. So that's like an amazing way to focus your intention. To do that just naturally, just about your everyday is amazing, because it's going to return such great things, I believe.
Yes, for sure. And of course, our plants love the carbon dioxide that we breathe out. So we're just, biologically, we're doing good too.
Symbiotic relationships there.
Yes. Yeah, it's give and take, So yeah, I found that if we really sit down and think about it, we'll probably be able to come up with lots of ways that we ritualize our lives. And the only reason we fear the word ritual is because we've made it mean something based on stories we've been told about say religion and the church and things like that, that we've just simply made it mean something.
Right.
And if we take all the meaning about and reclaim that word for ourselves in whatever it means to us, now we have the power over it, and then we have the power to use it.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, like, organized religions like the Catholic Church or, any other religion, they have their rituals embedded in their religions. It's not looked at as scary because it's something that's associated with that religion. But if someone was to think of ritual outside of the church, typically, or outside of an organized religion, typically it brings like images of like a cult or like, people in dark robes and like conspiring up black magic or something. And
Because none of us have ever danced around a fire.
yeah, right. Like you said, if we can reclaim that word and just allow it to be something that's present in our everyday lives, I think like it can really empower people to create huge changes and huge positive changes in their life.
Hmm. And when I worked in the funeral world, I was in the Catholic Church a lot because we have quite a Catholic community in where I live, and a busy church. And so, when people would die, we would attend the Catholic Church for their final arrangements and everything. And yeah, I didn't grow up in the church. Even though my father was raised Catholic, I really knew nothing about the Catholic Church. I didn't know why people did things. I didn't understand it. And then after being at like 6, 7, 8 Catholic funerals and observing and watching what everybody's doing, because when you're in the funeral profession, you do a lot of that, where you're watching, observing, and making sure everything's okay. And I would watch the Catholic mourners, because obviously it's not like if you're not Catholic you can't go to a Catholic funeral. But when I would watch the Catholic mourners and they would go through the rituals, they would touch the things and genuflect and do the cross thingy and touch the water and all that stuff. And it dawned on me very early in my career that the comfort comes from the ritual, which is why it's so important to ritualize our lives so much, because when you know exactly what you're supposed to do in a situation, that's comforting, and it actually takes a lot of the fear out of the situation, because you've got a handle on what your expectations are. And if you've ever been to a church service and the priest or minister says something and everybody else says the next line because they know the ritual and you don't, it's like, oh geez, I was a little late on that one, I just kind of quickly threw it in there. Whereas all the people who to do the ritual repeatedly, they've got the comfort in that, and then they can just focus on the healing and the spirituality and the feeling of it all, as opposed to having to worry about the technicalities of it all.
Yeah, like I was raised Catholic. I am not practicing, but I do find comfort, if you go for Christmas mass or something, there's the familiarity of everything and you just that there's that comfort, like you were saying, there it truly is there. Um, and that's what I think the whole point of a ritual kind of is to bring us that comfort and allow us an opportunity to focus our intentions. And whether we're focusing our intentions positively or negatively is entirely up to us due to our free will. But, if we can harness that power for ourselves, it's like amazing.
Mm-hmm. And it's worth spending some time. I think anybody watching this, like, spend a little time and think about your life and be like, what do I do habitually? And how can I do that with more intention? Can you hear that? That's the helicopter right over my house.
I
I don't
couldn't
know
hear
if you
my
could just hear
husband.
this like big rumbling, as I think they almost landed on my house, but it was a big, sounds like the orange helicopter, which is not a good thing. But look for areas of your life where you do have little rituals. If, maybe you make your coffee exactly the same way, well, add a little intention in there. Add a little meaning to it, and let that blossom and grow. Like, one of the things we often talk about is stirring your intentions into your morning coffee,
Mhm.
or your morning tea, or whatever it is that you drink, and stir them. And that could just be a tiny little ritual that is simply a habit, where you're stirring your coffee saying, I'm having a great day, I'm so awesome, everybody loves me, and put that out there and put that energy and frequency out there, but then infuse it into your coffee and then drink it. Because we're seeing a lot of these things where you say nice things to your water and then you drink it.
Mhm.
And those nice things are now in you.
Well, they say water is like a vessel for programming. You can program it positively, you can program it negatively, but if we're consuming it, everything that we're consuming into our bodies, we want it to be as positive as possible so that it can help our bodies as positively as possible. Because it directly influences like how I don't know how much of our body is water, but it's insane
Like
amounts. Like
70% or something.
I don't know, I think even higher maybe, but it's
Mhm.
crazy. And I feel like if we're just having that mindfulness where we are taking that moment to really think about what we're doing and be mindful and our so hard to anchor ourselves in and say, what am I truly focusing on? Am I actually present? Because we're such a fast-paced society. We're go, 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 go. Like the dopamine hits on the scrolling, like everything is nonstop. We're bombarded constantly with notifications and noises and like unnatural noises. And for us to really truly take that moment to focus and be mindful of the present moment, which is what happens when you're in ritual, when you're, you know, doing something that's a daily habit, like brushing your teeth, like try to focus your mind when you're doing that daily habit and turn it into a ritual. Like you said, ritualize your life and like big changes happen.
Mm-hmm. And if people are wondering, like, sort of like, but what is it intention? Like, how do I know? And we were
Mhm.
talking about this before, and I said, the difference between murder and manslaughter is intention.
Mhm.
So how do you go into it? What is your goal? What is the outcome that you want? That will set the intention
Yep.
versus just mindlessly going through life and doing everything without a second thought.
Mhm.
And your intention could be just to have a great day.
Yep.
Your intention could be to survive the day. For a lot of people, I bet out there, just like, let's just get to the end of the day is probably the best intention they can set for themselves at this point in their journey. And then there's other people who are going to be like, I'm going to make $50,000 today. So that's all great too. But it's just a matter of like how you go into things and how the outcome that you want from them really
Right.
does become the intention.
Yeah, like everyone now, manifestation is a really super popular thing, right? Like people are talking about it, people are making vision boards, people are, saying their mantras, they're doing all these things, but a lot of people aren't getting results. And I have a lot of these people contacting me saying, I'm doing all this stuff that everyone says you're supposed to be doing. It's not working for me. Why isn't it working? And I think that's what comes down to the power of the intention, because intention is also knowing something to in order for it to create something to manifest into your life, we have to truly believe it to be real. So simple, like you saying, to your raspberry bush and your blueberry bush. Thank you so much. Thank you for providing me these beautiful, berries. Because it's setting your emotions, it's getting your feelings in that state of gratitude, in that state, and that's able to anchor in your frequency. But if we're just sort of like, oh, I want a Ferrari, but you don't know it to be real. You can't truly understand the feeling associated. Like, yeah, you'd feel nice driving a nice car. That's not enough. That's not truly what intention to manifest actually is. Like everyone
Mhm.
says, dream big. Yes, dream big, but dream in a sense that's real to you. And then that intention is what directs our energy to that thing to be real. So, am I making sense? I feel like.
Yes. Because if we don't, and this is the thing, when people, we talk about like saying our affirmations, I
Mhm.
have $1 million in the bank. You're going to get nowhere with that unless you
Right.
can actually believe you could have $1 million in the bank.
Yeah, and I don't even like
So,
the word believe because I feel like believe, yeah, I believe I'm a good person or I believe this. It's a belief pattern, but real to you. Like,
mhm.
is it truly, I know I'm wearing a shirt right now. I know I'm sitting in a chair. That's real. It's not really believe, make believe, whatever. It's truly real. So if we are going to go one step further and say, this has to be real for you, you need to truly feel it and know it without a doubt, without any, you know, wishy-washy, oh, but maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe this will happen, or maybe that, none of that. You have to be solid without a doubt, know that I have $1 million in my bank. It's real, it's there, it's coming, whatever, but I know it's coming. That's how people win lottery. Like
Hmm.
you hear about it. How did you know? I don't know. I just knew. I knew I was going to
Yes.
win.
Yes. Yeah, and I've done that too, where I'll tell a funny story. I was last December, I was finishing up a year-long program with a coach, and it
Mhm.
was a group program, so there's a whole bunch of us together. And at the end of the year in December, she said, if any of you want to record a video testimonial about this program, and then tag me and everything, and then I will put your name in a draw to get next year for free.
Nice.
And so I did a video testimonial and just put it out there and thought, okay, well, whatever happens, happens. Yay, yay me, I'm gonna win. And the day that she was doing the draw, so I had my headphones on and I'm walking around my house listening to this call, the sort of the final call of the year, blah, blah, blah. And I went into the wash, I had to tinkle. So I'm like sitting there taking care of business and she's doing the draw. And I'm sitting there on the toilet in a place where we must always think about abundance, right? It's a great place to think about abundance.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there and I was like thinking to myself, say my name, say my name, say my name, say my name. I just kept in my head going, say my name, say my name, say my name. And she said my name. So I
Yep.
got a year free in this program. So just something as simple as that, of that, like just knowing, I'm like, of course I'm going to win.
The knowing,
Yeah.
focused intention. And you're saying, say my name. That's that focus intention, getting it out there. And then it's immediately results. There's no, what trips people out, it trips me out all the time is that there's actually no time in terms of results. So if a really, really good manifester is someone that can make that focused intention and literally get $1 million, in a minute. Like that's a crazy, it does happen, but like that's a really crazy example of someone who's directing their energy so well. And we're manifesting every single day. We're manifesting bad things to happen. We're really all good. We're programmed in our society to expect the worst, to expect bad things. And we basically have to undo all of that programming and reprogram our brains, like
Yes.
reprogram our subconscious minds to expect to receive because we are capable of it. We have just been conditioned to believe that we are limited beings, but we have unlimited capabilities and infinite possibilities available to us at any given time.
And anybody listening right now, you can do this. Test this out.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, as you're heading to your car to go to work or whatever, just say, someone's going to buy me a cup of coffee today and see what happens. Just say
But
it
believe
like
it,
with
believe it.
such,
You
with
have to
so much
believe it.
conviction
Mm.
and be like, no matter what happens today, someone is going to buy me a cup of coffee and there's nothing else that can possibly happen. Like that is it. It's indisputable, and see what happens. And there've been lots of times when I've gone to my local little cafe that I like to go to. I live in a small town, so we don't have a huge amount of options. So people tend to go to the same place all the time. And I've done that where I'm, getting in my car to go drive downtown and I'm like, someone's going to buy me lunch today. And then when I get there and I'm ordering my lunch and my coffee, the owner has more than once said, don't worry about it, Avril, I got you today. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So it's it does tend to happen really fast when the conviction is there.
Conviction, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something that is important to remember, there's this great book called The Desire Map. Have you read that book?
I haven't, no.
Because I was
Want
looking at
to,
your
though.
bookshelf when I was at your house. I was like,
I'm an avid
got
reader,
it.
yes.
It was like, got it, need it, got it. And so the Desire Map talks about, it's a very long-winded way of explaining that we are not actually chasing stuff. So to
Mhm.
go to your example, the Ferrari, which may be so out of reach in the imagination of a lot of people, that it's okay to start small. If $1 million in the bank is really out of reach for you to like truly know and trust and believe and be in conviction of, start with 1,000.
Yeah.
Start there. You can always build on your manifestations. It's okay. The compound effect is always there for us, right?
It's basically about training your brain. It's training your brain to accept it to be true. And
Yes.
once you master training your brain in those steps, like you said, so For example, upgrade the vehicle that you have now. That's easier for you to envision as being a reality than the vehicle you have now. Now, in the same sense, we can we have infinite possibilities available to us. If we're programming on a default programming of lack, then we're going to expect our current vehicle to have something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's breaking down and it's gonna be a piece of shit. And it's
You're gonna get me demonetized.
Can you edit that out? It can be a piece of crap. And then once we have that, it's like you choose your path. We can choose to go lower in frequency or we can choose to go higher in frequency. And
Mhm.
then if we, depending on our mindset and what we've trained our brain to do. That's why training our brain is probably one of the most important parts of intention, of powerful intention, which, you offer spiritual coaching, I offer spiritual coaching. It's very basically, essentially, what we're doing is we're training you to know your power and to how to use it.
Yes. Yeah. And so when we talk about the desire map and that we're not chasing the Ferrari, we're
Right.
chasing how owning a Ferrari will make us feel,
Mhm.
how we will feel owning that Ferrari. So if you can tap into that feeling in your Honda Civic or whatever your car is, your mom's minivan or whatever. I drive a little Jeep, so and I love my little Jeep. But for me, honestly, I would love an Escalade. I would love one. I see myself in a big white Escalade driving down the 401, heading for cocktails,
With the
you know?
sunglasses on.
Yes. And my Ferragamos or my Louboutins and but do I have an Escalade? No, but do I have Ferragamos? Yes, because I started small when I was trying to manifest things. I was like, you know what I mean? Like that feels like I'm not there yet, but I was at the point
That's
where I
high
could
step.
manifest some Ferragamos. So now I've got the shoes to wear when I get my Escalade. So
Yep.
it's like if you can tap into the feeling, and if the feeling is, well, then I would feel rich, then find ways to feel rich today.
Yeah.
Don't go to, well, not say the name, but don't go to the Canadian coffee company for the $2 coffee. Go to the nice place and get yourself a really nice coffee in a ceramic cup and sit back and enjoy it and feel that. I
Yeah.
feel rich today. When I was in my 20s and I was young and broke and poor and all the things, I used to get all dressed up and go to fancy hotels in the city and sit in the bar or the lobby and have, I'd spend like my last few dollars on a glass of champagne and I would wear my best jewelry and my nicest outfit and, do my makeup and my hair. And I would sit there amongst all these rich people, absorbing all of their rich energy and trying to capture that and be in that frequency. And it was amazing how many people would respond to that.
Yeah.
And so it's not the thing,
Nope.
it's the feeling we will have when we have the thing we want.
Yes, and it's maintaining that feeling is what maintains that frequency. So if you think of ourselves as little Wi-Fi receivers, we're literally, connecting to whatever frequency we're projecting. So whatever, we're like a magnet. Our auric biofields are basically magnetic receivers to energy. And like you said, you're around those fancy rich people in the hotels. Well, you're going to pick up their energy because you're trying to immerse yourself in that energy, and it strengthens your biofield to tune into that frequency, like a radio station or whatever you want to call it. And too often we surround ourselves with people that, are not going to change their frequency, and it keeps us comfortable. For example, something's comfortable, we're going to stay on this frequency, but we have infinite possibilities. So they call like timelines. And they said like there's multiple versions of ourselves existing simultaneously. And what timeline jumping is, I'm going to kind of like quantum jumping is basically when you jump timelines and you tune into the version of you existing simultaneously that's either a higher version or a lower version. And we have access to this all the time at any time. And you can literally wake up the next day and switch timelines and be living in a completely different existence than you were living the day before. And it sounds insane, it sounds crazy, but if you realize that our universe is a quantum universe and there's infinite possibilities, infinite potential, then you start to understand that the science now is actually like proving this to be real. It's
Yes.
really fascinating.
Yeah, like energy and frequency.
Yeah.
And we were talking about before, we attract what we are,
Yeah.
not what we want.
Right.
And the universe does not fulfill our needs. The universe fulfills our desires.
Mhm.
And so when we tap into the energy of the desire that we have and how we will feel, that's where the magic happens. That's why when you were talking, I was like
I
getting all
love
excited because
it.
I'm like, I love magical conversations. So
Yeah.
fun. But it definitely is about being in the energetics of it. And if you can't figure out how to do that, so say we'll use my example, I want an Escalade. If I was like, I don't know how to tap into the energy of driving an Escalade, well, I'm going to go to the Cadillac dealership and I'm going to test drive one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put on my nicest outfit and my nice sunnies and my Ferragamos and my fancy purse. And I'm going to go and I'm going to test drive one and be in the energy of
Right.
I'm going to buy this. I'm not going to buy it today, but I'm going to buy this. And then maybe even like develop that relationship with the salesperson and just like it's okay to be perfectly honest and say, I'm
Yeah.
not ready to buy today, but I would like to test drive this car because when I do go to buy it, I would like to have an established relationship with the person I'm going to buy it from. They're going to be all over you. They're
Oh
going to
my
send you
God.
Christmas cards. They're going to babysit your children. They're going to, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I bet there's nobody else out there being completely honest in saying, I just want to test drive it and then maintain a relationship where I can ask questions and get my way towards actually purchasing this.
Right. And this is also, where people I think get confused where the old adage where it's like fake it till you make it. Well, you do fake it initially, but if you're doing it properly and it won't feel like faking it anymore. This is why I get frustrated sometimes with imposter syndrome. People get stuck on that. They're like, well, I just can't get past it.
It doesn't exist. People should watch my video on how it doesn't exist.
It's not, you're allowing that to continue if that's what you want. That's you. Only you can change that, but you have to get into the feeling and truly believe it to be real. And until you believe it to be real, like you said, the desire and matching that, then it's going to be an imposter. It will be faking it. You have to cross that threshold as soon as you can in order to really utilize that energy for your highest good.
And it's important to remember the universe doesn't respond to our needs, it responds to our desires. And we know this because if people in need were being responded to by the universe, there would be no people in need. There'd be no hungry people. There would be no poor people because they need it much more than maybe the rest of us do. But then when you look at people who just seem to achieve so much and attract so much and get so much, it's because they're in that frequency of it, of almost a frequency of expectation.
Yeah.
Like there's just no other possibility.
I've used it my entire life. I've started out, my parents did not have very much money. I did not have the nicest clothes in school. I was bullied a lot, all that crap. But I knew that in order to change my life, I had to change my thoughts and change what my goals were in life and to change what I wanted because I knew whatever was happening wasn't going to be necessarily working. And I, at 20 years old, I think I was in Shanghai, China on a modeling contract. And if someone would have said to me at 18 years old, oh, you could be a model in Shanghai, I'd say like, what? Like I wanted to do that, but I wasn't quite there believing it to happen yet. And then by the time that happened, I was in the mind space of expecting it to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when. I was waiting for it to happen. It was going to happen. I just didn't know exactly when it would happen. And it did happen. And following that, you use it for when you want to buy a house, when you're buying a vehicle, when you're planning your family, when you're all these different things in life you can do and you use. And it's like a game, we were talking about game changing experiences, like the last conversation, like figuring out your life. It's basically the exact same thing. Like
Yeah. So we should basically just all sit in breathless anticipation of our expectations being met in
yeah,
whatever way they're going to be met. And don't get caught up in the how. The how doesn't matter at all. And the how doesn't like illegitimize your success. Like if you worked and slaved every single day to get $1 million, That's no more legitimate than winning $1 million.
No, if you have to
How
expect
doesn't
the
matter.
unexpected. Right.
Yeah.
You have to expect it to happen in a way that's beneficial to your highest good, right? And that's part of the intention setting, it's part of the desire is being really specific about what it is that you're truly wanting. So, like you said, working your whole life to get $1 million, winning $1 million, both get the same result, but if you're specific enough on how it is that you're looking to get it, then it can create something easy or hard.
Well, I almost think that getting specific on how we want to get it is going to be limiting us. Because if that's not the plan, if that's not the right thing, and we're like, it's almost like putting blinders on, I think. I think if we're just like, listen, this is what's going to happen, and how it happens, I'm just going to leave that open,
Right.
then we're just leaving so much more room for the magic.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like get
Yeah.
specific. Like when I want something or I have my thought on something, I write a list and I write down in detail what it is that I'm looking for, what I want, what color, say it's a vehicle, the year, the color, the trim model, the interior, all the specifications. And then I focus on it and then it happens. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I leave that. I try to make it happen. I would like as soon as possible, but I know it will come. And it's just like a matter of after having that expectation.
Mm-hmm. And I'm
And
an
it's not,
Aries, so my number one phrase is, "Why is this taking so long?"
yeah.
So it's about patience. It's about just, hey, I'm just gonna lean back in my feminine energy and just receive,
And
and that's all I'm here
surrender.
to do
Yeah.
today is just receive and let
Surrender to the
that be
process.
that. Yeah.
That's hard. That's very hard to do. I'm still like every single day I'm trying to remind myself, okay, just surrender and let's feel the flow and let it go. But it's again training that brain to do that.
Yeah.
Like training our brain for everything.
Yeah. We can't be enforcing energy. We have to be in chill, relax. That's why whenever I find that, like, if I hustle, 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 and then take a day off and go have a picnic in the park with my friends or whatever, suddenly my inbox is full of people wanting to pay me. So, yeah, it's like with that leaning back energy, like I'm just letting it go and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Woo, this is gonna be a long one, I think. This is what happens when you get too
There's just so
chatterbox.
much information to tire.
I know, I know. So, one of the things that we wanted to talk about is creating rituals that align with the energies of the fall season, especially because this is being recorded in October, and it's a gorgeous autumn day. We finally got some I can't even say it, pumpkin season weather happening right now.
Yeah.
It's a little cooler today. It's not as humid, and it's nice to think about autumn, that we're kind of fully in it now, because even though many of us see September as autumn, we keep getting reminded, no, it's still summer. And it's well, maybe for you, but I would like some pumpkin spice weather. But yeah, this great time of year, it's a time of transition
Mhm.
and letting go and going inward into the season of darkness, and how we do shadow work. This is a great time of year for that, especially into the winter, that healing work. And, for something I recently learned about how winter, because we're animals, and when you look at our little critters in the backyard, what do they do in the winter? They hibernate and they sleep and they eat and they recharge for the busy 6 months of the spring and summer, where they run around and have loads of fun and do all the things. And as humans, we're really no different. So this is a time when we need to rest more, and we need to eat more, and we need to do the healing stuff. And because the nights are longer, we've got the darkness, we've got the space and time, the coziness to do it. And so this is a great time to add some rituals into our lives to help us embrace the autumn season and flow with it into the winter, because in a couple months we're back to the sun coming back. And it happens so quickly, usually about a week after Christmas. I'm like, ooh, the sun's setting a little bit later today than usual. So there's so many ways that we can add autumn rituals into our lives that match the energy right now. Did you
Oh
want
yeah.
to talk about some?
What I say, like I like the analogy of we're animals, and our earth is right now, squirrels are preparing for winter. All the animals are preparing for winter. They're figuring out what they need to do in order to get through the next few months. And we should be doing the same. We should be taking inventory. What is serving us? What is no longer serving us? What are things that we can do to improve our lives? What are things that we can bring into our lives that will help us grow? Because ultimately we should all be wanting to grow every single day as a new adventure, new opportunities for us. And if we take the time now for the fall season to prepare ourselves so that when we cocoon in the wintertime, we can put all of our focus and energy into that growth, then come the spring and the summer, you kind of emerge like a butterfly, and you can have a whole new you in terms of like your goals and your aspirations, whatever it is that you want to focus on. So I think personally, I have ritual tools that I offer and that I create for people. And I found that I started doing those because I found I needed to have something to help me ground myself in order to focus my intention. I don't have like a specific autumn ritual, but I do have rituals that I use sort of in terms of helping me go inwards and helping me focus on what it is I'm trying to do with my life. What direction do I want to go into? What are some rituals you have, maybe?
Well, I love creating an autumn bucket list.
I like that.
Again, it's like a vision board, putting my intentions down on paper. So things like, a walk in the forest to collect leaves and pine cones to decorate my house,
Yeah.
and all the books that I want to read, all my spooky books. It's a
I
great time
love
of year
that. I
for the
feel like I need to do
thrillers.
this.
And like planning and like intentionally planning an evening.
Yeah.
My husband works night shifts quite often, so I'm by myself, and I could have a beautiful evening with some candles and the fire going, and maybe a glass of wine. I don't drink very often, but sometimes a little glass of wine, or a hot mug of tea, and read my book by the fire, just focusing on me, just doing something that I love that brings me joy, to be in that frequency. But I've done it because I've set an intention to do
Right.
it. And the same with like the walks in the forest. Like when you set the intention to do that, then you're much more likely to actually do it.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the time of year in Canada, especially holiday season starts in like 10 or 12 days, something
Oh,
like that.
I was gonna say probably it's gonna start in a week. Like right
Yeah,
now,
like next
before
Friday.
Halloween.
We've got Thanksgiving in next weekend. So the 13th is Thanksgiving weekend. And so all of our Canadian friends are like, uh-huh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And our American friends are like, what?
Yeah.
so so yeah, we have our Thanksgiving here in Canada based on the harvest as opposed to pilgrims. So our dates are different. And so our holiday season basically starts in a week and a half. And we've got all these different things coming up, taking us to the end of the year, where we can set the intention of how we want to spend those days and those holidays with our loved ones, and what we want to bring into them, and how we want to take care of ourselves through that. Because I don't know about you, but a mom at Christmas is like deserves all the diamonds and all the champagne. Because
Absolutely.
like it's amazing that when you think back on your life as a child and what Christmas perhaps looked like, and now as an adult you're like, oh my god, I have to make that happen.
Mhm.
What? It didn't just happen by magic. No, it didn't. We have to make it happen. So the setting the intentions of how you want that to unfold, how you want that to feel, and how you want to relate to your loved ones and your family members if they're also going to be part of that with you as well. So those are some good rituals to sort of sit down and make your bucket list of the things that you want to do and how you want to feel while you do
I
them.
really like, I
Because
love
now
that.
you're tapping into that energy of desire and
Mhm.
the attraction energy. And then the other thing that I love to do is to get my physical and metaphorical house in order. So all the summer stuff, all the towels and the summer snacks and the pool stuff and everything else, that gets put away. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you in the spring, gets put away. and then a good clean of the house, open the windows, open the doors, get all the energy moving, sweep out, blow some cinnamon in, all the things that we do.
Yeah.
It's a little salt under the doormat and all that, but almost like a reset of the house, an energetic
Okay.
reset as well as a physical reset. So right now, I mean, you can't see it, but to the side of me here, there's a big cabinet, and I've got all my autumn decor that I've pulled out, and it's sitting there waiting for me as I'm like polishing every piece of furniture and cleaning off everything and giving it all a good reset. Um, while at the same time getting all the summer stuff put away and doing that switch over into the autumn season. So I
Right.
find those two
Seasonal
things
cleanup.
really, really help. They energetically and then also physically too, because
Right.
we all really should give our house a good clean every once in a while and scrub it all out. I might actually get a housekeeper in for an afternoon to just like polish every surface, and that way all I have to do is decorate. But there's so many different things that people can do. If your ritual might be walking to get a pumpkin spice latte.
Right. Well, I think just
Or
having the idea, like when you were mentioning that, packing up the summer stuff and getting all the seasonal autumn stuff out, that's like someone might categorize that as like a daily or like a habit, a seasonal habit. But if you ritualize it and put the intention behind it, you can align it to work for you in your favor by kind of upping your frequency and matching to the desires that you're setting out there with while you're if you're making intentions while you're doing that. Um, like I feel the biggest thing with October for me is personally would be making setting goals and kind of like a review of my past few months and like a I call it like a life review. You sit down and you go through everything and you think, is this serving me? Is this working for me? Is this helping me? And then once you kind of go through that list, then you can kind of take inventory of everything, gather the information, and then apply it to however it is that you need to do to change your life in a
Mhm.
positive way, hopefully.
So academic.
I'm the queen of notes, though. I have like notes everywhere.
Yeah, I'm like, how does it feel?
Yeah.
Not good. Let's change it. Let's do something different.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So the other thing that we plan to talk about today was using tarot and energy healing to empower our intentions.
Yeah, it's like energy work in general. Like, energy is the fuel behind the intention. Like it's whatever energy we have while we're making that intention is what's going to power it out there. We can harness that energy by through the feeling, like you were describing before about that book, where it's like when you have that desire and you hold that feeling in yourself and you hold that intention, that's like the fuel to power the energy to push it out to find the like energy and magnetize it back to you. Um, so I feel like once we do that, then it's really easy. It makes it really, really simple.
And a good energy clearing is helpful. Like get all your this like when you clean out
Right.
your house and you're getting all the crap out of your house, it's the same thing that when you do a good energy clearing, you're getting all your energetic residue and garbage and junk out of you.
Right. Well, like energy healing for me is where it's our biofield. So it's our energetic biofields. That's our energy center. Like this is where either we can allow energy to come in that's not serving us or serving us. And if we don't take good care of our energy field, if we're not aware of it, I'd like to picture like holes. Things can get in that you don't want to come in. And what an energy healing does is it basically removes those holes in your biofield and then restarts it like it was a fresh start. So it's like a fresh slate, and it allows you to kind of restart. Everyone's capable of doing this themselves. They don't need someone to actually do it for them. But a lot of people have, like, it's hard to hold that intention or they can't visualize it themselves. So they have a hard time, which is why they seek someone like me to try and do that for them. And it's basically, if you consider like picture, a veil over us, right? Where there's all these little holes in it. Well, once you've done the energy clearing, the veil is clean, there's no holes, it's all ready to receive good energy, positive energy to you. But if someone's a really negative person, they can leave an energy healing and then they start to fall back into lower frequencies. They can start to let those holes come back through to them. So it's really ultimately up to us to make sure that our energy fields are clear and allowing us to receive what it is that we're wanting.
And I just actually put a video up not long ago. I think it was last week, and I was talking about psychic protection and why we need it.
Mhm.
And that is one of the things I talk about is that are you a sponge? You
Mhm.
know, that you've got all these holes and you can, there's places that, the junk can get in and penetrate you. And what we want to do is seal all of that up. And even when
Right.
I do like cord cutting, the that is one of the things where we're like sealing off openings that where negative stuff can get in, where the psychic attacks can get in, the negative thoughts can get in, the energy, walking into a room full of negative people, you can really feel it. And if all your, sponge holes are closed up and sealed, then you're much more protected energetically than if you're just like wide open and then you
Yeah,
can actually get quite physically sick from it.
yeah, and it's really important. I think it's like, people don't take it seriously enough. Our our auric biofields are actually measured like by science. It's a real thing. You can actually we do have energy emitting from us at all times. And it's totally up to us on how we maintain that biofield. And we're not taught how to do that. That's not something that we're typically raised with what to do, like, and people hear about it, but again, if they're not truly consciously aware and truly believe that it's around them, it's leaving them open to those things, the psychic attacks or the negative entities, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And
And you're
there's a
so
really
good at it too. I mean, you can just look at how's my energy today?
it's good, you're glowing.
But I know you can just
Radiating.
look at somebody. So when I do energy work, because I'm a Reiki master, for me it's more I feel it. Like I put my hands on people and then I can feel it. Whereas
Right,
you can just look at somebody and see it and see what needs to be pulled out or where they need some work done on and what part of their body or something, or
right.
where something
Yeah.
is kind of glommed onto them and is hanging on.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like it's almost like I call it like an invisible veil, but I could feel also like I could feel where there's like a hole or a patch, and we can all do it. Everybody's able to do it. Everyone has the ability. It's not some magic ability that I was born with in my family. It's something that everybody has the ability to do. It's just whether or not you're aware of it. You're conscious
Mhm.
of
And what I found really neat was remember the night that a few months ago when we were sitting in the pub
it.
and you
Yeah.
were doing and like you were pulling something and I could almost feel like I was
Yeah.
like being pulled a little bit
Yeah.
as you were pulling something. It was the wildest experience.
Yeah.
We're in a pub. We're in a busy
Everyone
pub.
everyone says no, everybody says that. They're like, "You just pulled something out of me." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did. It's just that negative or whatever the frequency, the lower frequency that's holding you down." And you do feel lighter afterwards. You feel, cleared. We can do it ourselves. It's just a lot of the times, we don't know what we're looking for, or we're not quite aware of how to do it. I think once people learn it though, it's really, really easy. It's really simple.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
So that's why, YouTube is so educational because we get to
Yeah.
learn all about things we hadn't even heard of before. But also too that the willingness and openness to try it because for a lot of people, a lot of their illnesses are emotion based. A
Mhm.
lot of pain and body issues and stuff are emotion based, and I know that because I do emotion code work, and I had someone do it on me, and I had it like on my shoulder. It was almost locked, like I couldn't raise my arm any
Right.
higher than this. And when they cleared the trapped emotion that was in my shoulder, I was just sitting there. And then she said, "Okay, lift your arm." And I was like, "Oh my God." I couldn't believe it. So there was like if I didn't believe it before then, which I
Right.
totally believed it.
Well, we all have our energy centers, right? So
Yeah.
when energy centers get blocked or bogged down because of, negative experiences or things that we haven't released out of our bodies or out of our psyche, it
Mhm.
creates those energy blocks. So when I'm doing energy clearing, what I'm doing is I'm moving the energy and I'm pushing through the blockages and I'm expressing it out. So like a full energy session is, I'm really going through all the different energy centers in the body and moving it. But everyone's different, like you said, different traumas, different things will cause different experiences in the body. And that's a lot of what the quantum healing does, is that the quantum healing, you get your subconscious, and your subconscious will come through, and you're actually going through your body yourself as I guide you through it. And you're able to uncover the blockages in certain areas. And they almost always correlate similar things. So like, the thing with your say something in your knee is something, I don't know, you don't want to move forward or something. So all the people that have those issues with their knees, they're usually stuck in something in their life that they don't want to move through. So it's really fascinating. I love that. Yeah.
Well, what I found, so the coolest thing about the emotion code work is that it doesn't just pick up on your own emotions. It can actually determine if the emotion is an ancestor's emotion. So in my shoulder, I guess something happened where I was weakened in that area, and one of my grandmother's emotions got trapped.
Oh
It was
yeah.
an inherited
Yep.
emotion that either I was born with or just popped in. I can't remember what we learned that day, but I was like, oh my gosh, which then, because I never knew this particular grandmother because she died when I was just a few days old. And so I never knew her. I've only heard stories about her. So I've never had like an actual connection
Right.
to this person in the same way that I did with my other grand, who I was 37 when she died. So I had a
Right.
long life with her. And it actually kind of made me feel sort of connected to this other grandmother that I never knew.
Mm.
And I was very emotional about it because I was like, oh my gosh, like she is here with me. Like, even though I've never met her. And so it was it was a very fascinating and interesting experience to have that emotion explored, like this
Oh
pain
yeah.
explored and then released. And it was like instant. Like I thought I was going to have surgery,
Yeah.
and it was instant that this pain and my stuck shoulder, it was almost frozen.
Well, that's just it. It's that instantaneous access to the quantum field where it's able to be remedied right away. Like you can literally, there's no time. There's no need for time or surgery or anything else like that. And we can also get stuff from past lives show up in our physical bodies that carry through. And again, like once you discover what it's from, you can clear it instantaneously. It's gone. Your body does not need it. It doesn't need to hold on to it. It's cleared. It's disappeared. And
Mhm.
it's amazing how it works, how it's so, how we can carry these ancestral traumas, we can carry these past life traumas, and then once we're aware of it, we're like, okay, this doesn't need to be here. We can clear that energy center and it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very neat, and I really hope more and more people explore it, at least ask questions, be open to it, because I think there's so much healing that's going to take place over the next decades
Yep.
that I think what happened in the last few years, people have discovered that they need to start asking more questions. I'm trying not to be political, but that people need to ask more questions and do their due diligence and explore more.
Right.
And that there's a lot of healing to be done that maybe doesn't necessarily include the medical industrial complex.
Right.
And if I can avoid, like, instantaneously heal something that like literally crippled me for a couple of
Mhm.
years and not need to go see a specialist, a doctor, go through all the gatekeepers to actually finally sit down and get an x-ray to find out what's going on. Imagine if people could be healed that day and
Well, what's
what
amazing
lives would look like.
yeah, well, it's amazing to me is that it is happening, and it's happening. More and more people are understanding and are realizing that it's real every single day. But the thing that's wild to me is that the general population still assumes it's pseudoscience. And at the end of the day, they're building quantum computers. They're proving, I saw an article in Popular Mechanics saying our brains are intrinsically are universe in all ways. Science has now proven. And I'm like, well, yeah, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is exactly the connection to the quantum field. Our bodies are part of this universe. Our bodies are part of this quantum field. And this is where things like quantum healing or instantaneous healing through energy, because we are all frequency and energy and sound waves and, water, matter, all that stuff. It's all connected. It's all proven. but I think it's going to take a long time for the general public to be open to realizing that it's actually not pseudoscience, it is real.
Especially when I find like the majority, the masses, tend to believe the mainstream narratives that we get fed all the time.
Yep.
But here's something I find really interesting. Millionaires have coaches. Billionaires have people like us.
Yep.
You know, they have astrologers and readers and psychics and people who deal in the realm of energy, helping them get more billions.
Yep.
But millionaires, you know, are in more of the 3D human
Right.
coaching thing, which is fantastic. But when you take that little leap into the realm of energetics, it all opens up. The whole universe is available to you as opposed to just your neighborhood.
Well,
You
I was listening to a podcast by this guy named Billy Carson, and he's incredibly like intelligent. And he had a mentor, and it was a billionaire mentor, and the mentor wanted to learn about energy. He wanted to learn about, finances, and they had this symbiotic relationship with each other because the billionaire knew that what he was saying was all had merit, it all had value. And I think that, a lot of our industry gets kind of pushed under the table a lot, and it's super unfortunate, but I'm really excited for it to kind of come into the mainstream more. And I think that more and more people are awakening to the reality. They're trying the things, but like when it comes to, say, manifestation, I don't want to just tell people, oh, go make a vision board and then that's it, right? We want to really nail down how much the power of intention, that feeling is what is going to fuel and create that manifestation come to life for you. It's not just like, believe it and it's going to happen. It's more, I know it's happening. I know it's going to happen. Because I know it to be true, and you're aligning yourself with that, higher frequency timeline version of yourself. And once we understand that and we can kind of practice that, then that's when you're going to see some really big changes happening.
And just to, put a point on that, it's the difference between believing and knowing.
Yes.
And if anybody takes anything from this today,
yes.
take that one thing. If that's all you take today, take that one thing and get yourself into a mindset of knowing. And of course, it's important to believe, of course, but we want to make that upper level shift into knowing that there is just no other option.
Yeah, one more thing I want to add before I forget is a lot of people are putting this focus on, I need to maintain a high vibration, so I need to be consciously aware of my thoughts at all times. And it's going to drive you nuts. It will drive you insane because nobody can be in control of their thoughts at all times. We're not all master meditator Buddhas. We are humans living in a world that's crazy. But what we can do is be conscious of how we're feeling. And so if we do practices like emotional anchoring, where we can bring ourselves into that center of feeling where it's like, you attach, say, anytime you're starting to feel anxious, you go like this, and it reminds you to hold on, change your feelings, change your thoughts, and get into that mindset that's going to be helpful for you. So instead of controlling your thoughts, try to control your feelings, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. And our feelings are created by our thoughts. So, which is why affirmations are so important and the mindset work is so important. But to sort of talk about how we're all in this, good vibes only, high vibes only, that is toxic spirituality. That is such a awful thing that is going on in our industry.
I hate it. I could go on for hours about that.
You know what? I think we're going to do a 13th episode just on toxic spirituality. Because what it does is it takes the human out of the equation, and it makes us, it invalidates the experience. So, somebody gets in a car accident, and then they're being told by their coach or their spiritualist or their mystic or whatever, good vibe only, good vibe only. What did you learn from it? How did you benefit from it? What did it do for you? And it's like, no, I'm still recovering from a car accident. So we have to validate the experience for people. And if we don't feel the emotions, even if they're negative, especially if they're negative, if we don't feel them, then we never get to the other side of them. We have to wade through crappy emotions
Mhm.
in order to get to the other side. It's
I
like,
think
you know
that's
what, don't skip leg day, right? Like you want to be doing the tough stuff. And when we're saying to people, and not you and me, but other people
yeah,
are saying good vibes only, you've got to stay positive. It's, you know, you'll attract negative things if you're, and it's like, okay, well, I already had a car accident, so I think I'm I
yeah.
think I'm good. But it invalidates the human experience that we're all having. And by literally taking away the permission to actually feel what you're feeling. And
I
we
think
have to feel it.
Well, I think it's also it's contributed to us, among many, many things, contributing to us being a really sick society where we know our bodies are well. Um, a lot of that is because of those repressed emotions. We're uncomfortable navigating those uncomfortable emotions. We're uncomfortable navigating those negative feelings because of that whole, I must be a positive person or people aren't going to like me, or I have to, I have to be high vibe. I don't like low vibe people, all that stuff. It's all toxic because even say when we're trying to get into a feminine state, the divine feminine or the divine masculine, there's duality within both. There's duality, there's the positive, or you want to say higher frequencies, lower frequencies, but there's merit and there's value to all of those parts of it. So when people try to, like shut down I'd say darker parts. I'm going to say light and dark, not necessarily positive and negative, because there's darker aspects to femininity. That's divine rage. There's so many things that are
My
considered like
specialty.
taboo. Yeah, but it's so once you get in touch with that, there's power in that. And when you find that power in that, then it empowers you and it actually helps you create a higher frequency than just being, like not experiencing that duality. So, like I said, I could go on for hours and hours about that too, but
Yeah. Yeah. And
I know this stuff.
I think just to wrap this up, because what I would do want to do is a whole episode on toxic spirituality.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
just to sort of wrap up this topic, it's about authenticity. And I would prefer that somebody be like violently, negatively authentic than be faking it.
yeah,
Because inauthenticity is actually the lowest frequency that you can be in. And that's where we get that swirling energy that sucks other people into your negativity and mob mentality and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
but you did mention energetic exchanges. So, oh, you can, there's my little dog.
I love him too.
Aw, he's getting cuddly and snuggly on the cushions over there. This is why I always have to fluff the cushions every single day because, oh,
He's so cute.
such a good baby.
He's watching, like, yes, I am. If they,
He's been in every Zoom. So, uh, oh yeah, we were talking about energetic exchanges. So on that topic, each of us is going to put our tip jar in the description of our videos when we post this on our own individual YouTube. So look for that there. If you're enjoying this and would like to make a little exchange with us, that would be wonderful. And we were talking about tarot and setting intentions. And so I don't have a tremendous amount on this, but except just to say that when people sit with me and they get a reading, it shows me the energy of that moment and then what is coming up based on that energy of this moment.
right, right.
Armed with that information, you can change things and you can actually change the trajectory. So people say, yeah, but what's the point of a tarot reading? And it's like, well, it's information. And with free will and our own humanness, we can actually change how we do things.
Well,
And
it's like a map for jumping timelines.
yes. And so when we look at like, okay, today, based on what's going on, this is the outcome that we're going to get.
Right.
Now that you know that, you can make shifts in your life to change the energy and change the trajectory.
Yeah.
So that I find is like a really cool thing about tarot is it not just about finding out, is my boyfriend cheating? Yes, you already know that.
Yeah.
You already know that's why you're here. But whatever it is that people are looking for, it's about changing the trajectory. And as a tarot reader, I went to an academy and we weren't just taught like, oh, here's the meanings of the cards. This is what you tell people. We were actually taught how to coach people. And so what I do is transformational tarot because through the story that unfolds through the cards in front of me, I can actually help you look at your life in a whole different way.
Mhm.
And most people start off the call in such a defeated state with me, and then by the end they're like, "Oh my God, I feel so empowered. I feel so hopeful." And then I also give them actionable steps for moving forward. So that way they have something to do to actually change that trajectory. And then when we come back a few months later to check in on things, they made the magic happen based on the information they had and knew
Okay.
where they
Yeah.
were going.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like with, say, intuitive readings, when we're tuning in with tarot, with any kind of divination, we're accessing our higher selves, and our highest selves are always trying to guide us to our highest timeline, right? So when we receive that information, I like to think of it as like a roadmap to get to where you want to go and how you're going to get there. And it's not going to tell you you need to do X, Y, Z, but it's going to say, this is where you're going now.
Hmm.
Take that and then consider what it is that you're wanting, what is it that you're desiring, and then focusing your intention, to get you to that higher timeline of yourself.
Hmm. And if somebody watching right now is going to book a session, don't don't give Caitlin 7 pages of questions. Because I did that. And then when I listened to it, I was like, oh, yeah, my higher self was getting real irritated at all these questions, but it was me who wrote all the questions. So, yeah, I did. When I listened to it, I'm like, oh, I was getting like, I'm sick of this interrogation. Yeah. But there was that when I listened to my recording again, I would from our session, when you talked to my higher self, I I had some pretty interesting things. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Our higher selves are so wise. And I'm, like I said, I'm always humbled whenever I'm in this space where I'm guiding someone through their conversation with their higher self, because it's it's such like your whole demeanor changes. You're like, I am this oracle, I am, yourself, everything is confidently said and said with direct intention. And it's like when you actually listen to it, you're like, wow, like it's so much value in what you're hearing, what you have to say. And it's all coming from inside of you. But
Hmm.
it's like it's just amazing.
Yeah, like it was sort of funny to me, like listening to it and like some of my responses. It was almost like if it was me, my human answering would have been like, duh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My higher self is like, ugh, seriously. You know, like I think probably the funniest one was like the aliens one. Or no, yeah,
Yeah.
are there aliens? Is like, well, duh.
Yeah.
We all are. What a stupid question. And I'm like, my human Avril is like, yeah, I wrote that question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but then it's also like, to get those answers, you think of how many times our highest self, our intuition, that little voice inside of us that's trying to get through to us and trying to get messages to us. And then, when they finally get the opportunity to fully say it, it's not a surprise to us because we're like, yeah, I kind of figured that because I feel like I felt that before, like if it's familiar, it's just whether or not we were actually open to listening to the answer or not.
Yeah, that's how I felt. It was like there was no surprises. It
No.
was almost just a deep knowing. It
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Spent 6 hours to learn this that I already knew, but it was like it was just such a fascinating experience to go in there and hear what my higher self might say about
Mhm.
things. But yeah, the one piece of advice is you don't need 200 questions.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do
You can
what I
ask
did.
as many questions as you want, but your higher self might get sick of answering them at a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was literally like when I listened back to it, I could actually in my body listening to it feel the moment
Mhm.
that it was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't I've answered all the things I'm going to answer today. But then we kept going, but I did,
Yeah.
we got there. We got there. But yeah, it was I would say maybe just like ask your top 25
Yeah.
questions. You'd get a tremendous session out of that.
Well, I'm like a detective. I just want to get all the answers. So I will just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and we'll go.
When I was in the Tarot Academy, the master, he said the best quality in a tarot reader is nosiness
Mhm.
because we want to dig and find out more and more and more, and the curiosity will get the better of us. And like even with strangers, I'm like, I need to know more about this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're pulling more cards to find out more.
I'm going to be a detective. I'm going to do that. That's how you get all
Yeah.
your answers.
Trixie Belton right here was my hero when I was little and still do. And my husband calls me Trixie. So that's how committed I am to my private investigator state of
Yeah.
mind. So, one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is practical tips for creating a manifestation ritual. Ooh, I love that. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Well, I think we both have green candles here.
We do. Every witch
So,
has pile,
yeah.
stockpile of green candles. That's the way. And if you're just for a fun fact, here's a black candle. If you're doing Saturn work, use a black candle.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. And chocolate and dark coffee.
So I was gonna show, I'm not really a crystal person, but I do have, this is malachite, I believe it's called. Um,
Malachite, yeah.
do you see a correlation here? So if we're gonna do abundance work, what's the correlation? Is the color green?
Yeah, with money.
Money. So it's
Yeah.
basically,
Greenbacks.
if you're doing any kind of a ritual, you want to get the ritual that's associated. You want the color theory. So there's color magic. You want this little spell bottle here. It's got different herbs that all have the energetic frequencies to call in that, the frequency of money or abundance. And like this crystal, same thing. And you have ritual oils too. Little rituals, but all these tools are all really, really amazing to help draw in the energies if you're looking for energies, say of money or abundance work. So if you're looking to do a ritual based on manifesting some abundance, get something green, get some, you can get our products or you can make your own, or you can look into, you can go get some mint from your garden. There's different herbs like mint, basil, dill. They're all really good. Cinnamon, it's all really good abundance herbs. And all you have to do is just like take either oil or the herbs or something and just allow that yourself to be immersed in the frequency of those tools, because they're tools. They're not going to get you the result all by themselves. You have to focus your intention behind them. And then you don't have to do any specific spell or chant or anything like that. All you have to do is truly feel the energy and truly believe it to be happening. And then that's kind of how I'm kind of a wing it person. I just make it up as I go.
Because I'm like,
But
we're doing it exactly as we're
yeah,
supposed to do it. Yeah.
but whatever works for you. If you're someone who would rather have a direction, like kind of like a guided meditation. Some people don't like meditating on their own. They really prefer the guided meditations. I love guided meditations because it helps me focus. So, if you're someone that's more directed, I know Avril has a bunch of amazing videos where she can walk you through how to do those rituals to call in that frequency or that energy.
Yes, I do have the money spell, which is in my YouTube videos, so anybody can grab it. I will link it in this video as well. And that's a simple one that we use our green candle. I have my abundance shimmer serum. Don't want to mess up those words.
The
And
shimmer serums are very nice too. I
and it
really like.
is a blend of nourishing oils. You can use it head to toe, but a lot of my clients buy it to use with their green candle and their abundance crystals and the abundance the ritual, the money spell that is on my YouTube. And so you just anoint your candle with the oil. You really focus on the intention and like what you want to attract, what you're calling in, what your abundance is. And the crystals, I personally like working with tiger eye when I do abundance work because it is a protective and attractive
Mhm.
gemstone. You can also use the green ones. You can use the citrine, hematite, pyrite, anything like that. Those are all very magnetic as well. And I have the spell, the little mantra that we say, and it's in the video, so I'll link it. There'll be full access to it. And just as simple as that. And then as far as meditation goes, I do have a wealth activation that is also in my YouTube channel, and I will link that as well. And you can pop your headphones on, listen to that. You can do it as a like lying down meditation, or just pop it on and walk around and go about your life. And they're beautiful affirmations that will create those neural pathways in your brain that will, the thoughts create the emotions. If we start thinking I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, we'll start to feel that you're wealthy. So
Right. Well, I'm actually going to start offering as well guided like self-hypnosis audios for people to
mm,
listen to if they're having problem, like if you're finding that you're defaulting to old programming, so like limiting beliefs, you're not able to really get past those, the hypnosis videos will be probably really helpful just to help you deprogram those old limiting beliefs and reprogram in new beliefs to align with the life that you're hoping to live.
absolutely. So when you post this video, put the link to that in there as well, so that people can grab it. Because I think there's just so many things that we do that we can we could be helping so many people. Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, creating a manifesting ritual can simply be thank you, thank you, thank you, more please.
Yeah.
The gratitude and the desire all combined into one. And it's okay. A lot of people say, yeah, but if I'm not grateful and I still want more, then that's canceling my gratitude. No, it's not. You can be grateful for everything you have right now and still want to amplify that and call in even more. So it is okay to have one foot in gratitude and one foot in desire at the same time, and see what magic happens there with that little combination. And so finally, as we're going to wrap this up soon, I don't know. Left to our own devices, I don't think we'd ever wrap this up. We'd have like a 75-hour video.
Yeah.
Challenges for our listeners
Yeah.
for setting their intentions. So I'm going to let you talk about that, because this was your idea, and I think it's a great one.
Okay, so I was just wondering, if there's any challenges that our listeners are having, if you're having trouble setting intentions, if you're having trouble manifesting, if you're having any challenges that you are coming into, let us know, because we can even maybe make another video about another topic or something that we can help you with. And maybe you could share some ways that things are working for you, if you have any specific rituals or intentions that you enjoy doing and are helpful to you in your life. But I think it's, the more that we conversate and get information out there, the more we're able to help everybody. And getting feedback from other people, from the listeners, is really, really important for us to be able to make future videos. And yeah, it's
Mhm.
kind of
So yeah, if you're struggling with something and you're finding that you're not getting over the hump to the thing that you want, just let us know in the comments, because we'll both chime in and see what we can do. And if we're seeing a repeating theme, then absolutely we're going to add that to the list of episodes, and we'll pop one in. You put two chatterboxes together, so we're good. Just give us a topic, we'll run with it.
and we're
And
here to help. Like, we want to help. That's what we're here for. So
and if you're setting intentions, let us know what they are. Like give us, tell us, share that with us, so that we can cheer for you, and our audience can cheer for you as well. And if you've got some goals you want to set, like, let us know too. And then keep us posted on how that's going and what you're doing and what happened, like what shifted for you that changed everything. Like, what was the moment where it all clicked and fell into place? I would love to hear that, because I think we could all be learning from that kind of thing, even though, Caitlyn and I are sitting here talking about this like we're experts on all of it. No, we're not. We just know a lot. You know what I mean? This is just our field of knowledge. But we, like, as Caitlyn said, we all have the ability to do all of this. It's nothing. I wasn't born special. You weren't born special. We've just taken all of our experiences and education and wisdom and pulled it into something and created businesses and a life and all the things that we desire. And you can do this. You can manifest anything you want. I actually have a friendship spell that I put on my YouTube last week, and it's for calling in friendships, deepening relationships, calling in success, clients, customers. And it's so easy. You just sit there and do it, and then just know that it worked. That's it. You just say, and it worked. And off we go. And we'll see how this unfolds. I so look forward to seeing what happens. You know. Yeah, so there's all kinds of things we can be manifesting, and there's no we don't need to prioritize things, and don't worry about manifesting things for other people. The same way that I won't read to find out what's going on in your adult child's life, talking to all the boomer women out there. But I get that a lot where people will be like, yeah, I want to know if my daughter, what's going to happen with this guy that she's dating. And I'm like, well, does she know you're here? Like we don't need to find out everything for other people. And we also don't need to be manifesting for other people, because I know as moms, the desire is so strong to try to manifest things for our children. It is okay to manifest things just for us. Treat yourself, spoil yourself. And if you can do that through manifesting and your intentions and your energy, even better. And that lunch that I get bought for me when I go out, when I set the intention that I don't share it with my kid. I eat
No,
it all for me.
honestly, manifest for yourself and teach others how to do it.
Yeah.
They'll get there. We're all on our own journeys, even our children. Everybody is fully capable of doing this. They just need to be taught and they need to learn. They need to want to learn. And,
Hmm.
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. And it's the same, if you try to manifest something for somebody else, it doesn't work.
Yeah. So my son, I think, I talk about this a lot. My son is a competitive bagpiper. So all summer long, he's competing. His competitions are almost always on a Saturday. And so we use that Saturday energy, the energy of Saturn. That's why we have a black candle here. But the energy of Saturn, and I taught him Saturn's mantra, so that when he's getting ready on the morning of a competition and he's
Right.
getting his kilt on and he's tuning up his pipes, and he's getting into like, okay, I've got to switch from teenager who plays video games to competitor,
Right.
he says his mantra, and we sit there in the morning while he's getting ready and eating breakfast and everything, and we recite the mantra over and over and over to tap into that Saturn energy. So instead of me sitting there saying, okay, I'm manifesting a win for my kid, I've taught him how to manifest his own success.
Right.
And he's very in, like, he's a teenage boy, so he's not sitting around praying all the time, but he certainly is very interested, and he has a lot of questions, and we have a lot of conversations about the
Right.
soul and energy and manifesting and all this kind of stuff. So it is so easy, and children are the little sponges who will absorb. If you teach them how to do something, they'll ritualize every minute of their day.
And the more people in your household or in your group or whatever that you get to manifest together consciously with the intention, that's when it's beneficial for all of you and for other people.
Yes.
It's when we try to manifest solely for somebody else without their, obviously like something like praying for somebody else that's unable to, that's still, it still does something. But when it comes to actually like physically manifesting something into the life, the power of the intention has to come from that person as well.
Yes, absolutely. And their belief, faith, knowledge
Yes.
in that it will work. So my son, when he steps in front of the judge to play his solo, he just assumes he's won.
Yeah.
And very often he got a medal. He did really well, because there was a mindset shift that we worked on this year over last year that really helped him get into that winner mindset and that success mindset before he'd even put his kilt on in the morning to go compete. So yeah, there's all kinds of ways, and teaching our children this is we just raising them to have magical lives. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. And more people should do that. Imagine what the world would look like.
It is a magical place.
Well, Caitlin, I thank you so much for joining me here today.
Great talk as
I
always.
love our conversations. I'm just always like, I'm so energized right now. It helps that I just drank an iced coffee, but I'm so energized, and I'm always so lit up when we have our conversations. And we need to get together soon, because I want to take you to dinner. So we'll make
It
plans for
happened.
that.
Yep.
I know, right? See what you just manifested?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Like as always, it's always a blast. And I'm so looking forward to our next chat. So
Yay. So we'll do that maybe next week, because we have to have our Halloween and Samhain conversation. We should wear costumes for that.
I'm down. I have a Harry Potter costume.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to wear costumes for that.
Perfect.
So look for that video to be released at the end of October. Thank you all for joining us. And don't forget to leave a comment. Click the subscribe button on both of our pages. We will be linking to each other, so you'll be able to find us easily. And we will be adding all the links that were discussed here today. We'll make sure that you've got everything you need. So leave a comment, subscribe, and we will reply to everybody. Have an
Thanks for
amazing
watching.
day.
Bye.
Bye.